everybody. Welcome to our community education video. I'm Tammy Turner, and I'm joined today by Khenae Franklin, who's a certified nursing assistant with Hospice of the Chesapeake. And Khenae, thanks so much. Clearly, you are very busy. You are in your car between patients coming to chat. So thank you for taking some time to talk with me.
Sure, no problem. No problem.
So for those that might not be aware, let's start with talking about what is a certified nursing assistant? Like what is that role? What do you do?
So in a nutshell, over the past, years, a certified nursing assistant is there to support the patient and their family, and especially in the hospice world. And we're there to provide patient care, be a companion to the patient, be a companion person to the patient. So in a nutshell, that's basically summarizes it. Oh, and let me back up a little bit. And we do support the registered nurses, being, assistance to them in any way possible that we possibly can. But yes, that's basically summarizes it all.
So that, give me an example. Tell me a little bit about like, what's a typical day? Clearly you're in your car, you're going between patients. So you have multiple people that you work with. Right.
So typical day for me is seeing anywhere between 4 to 7 patients a day.
Wow.
And usually it's me going in there, talking with the patients. By this time we've, built a little relationship. So, going in, speaking to the family, speaking to the patient, providing personal care for the patient. If they need help with a little setup with breakfast, setting up breakfast for them. Just basically trying to get their day started. A lot of my patients are bed bound, but all of them still are talking, and they're still aware of their surrounding and who everyone is. So after that personal care, I sit down with them, chit chat, make sure the family is okay, because this is a very stressful time for them as well. So make sure they have everything that they need, and that's basically, and then I move on to the next patient.
And I was going to say, I think a lot of people really aren't aware of how important your role is for the family as well. You are that, because you're the eyes, ears, you have that perspective where you are with somebody, providing that direct care, and can see things that others that might not have that training be able to recognize.
Exactly. Yes. And I try to explain that to my patients and their families as much as possible, especially when I notice that I'm getting a lot of cancellations. I'm like, okay, I understand that you may not need me, but remember, I'm here to support. So even if I can just peek my head in, just so that that someone is there, other than you, So yes.
Like a check-in. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I'm guessing you mentioned it a little bit, a relationship or rapport, because it's not just, you're not just there one time, you're coming consistently and frequently. Talk to me a little bit about that. Like what's that look like?
So most of my patients are about 3 days out of the week.
Okay.
I maybe have one, maybe 5 days, but they alternate their days, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the others may get Tuesday, Thursday. So anywhere between 2 to 5 days of visits, is our time frame that we go and see the patients.
Okay.
And so I make sure as soon as I walk in, very fresh, patient, that they know, they have at least someone in their corner that'll advocate for them.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned this too a little bit. Hospice care is different than some other types of nursing care that certified nursing assistants provide. So how did you get into end of life care?
I actually got in through my mother. My mother works for another hospice agency, and I always, for many years, I was trying to get into the company that she works for, and I finally got my chance. And I was just in awe, because for me, I mean, the job in itself is very rewarding in itself, but to be able to say that I was a part of someone's life, at the end of their at the end of their life, and I know that I somewhat made a difference, or I helped, make it a little bit easier, if it's, education, explaining to them or families, what's getting ready to happen. Or if it's just, I don't know, telling the nurse, that the patient is in pain, just me knowing that I had just a little bit, that was great for me, and I also too, I now look back and I'm more so grateful because my father was in hospice. I now see both sides,
All right.
So I'm happy that I mean, of course it was an unfortunate circumstances, but I'm happy that now I know exactly how my families feel,
Right.
So yeah, so that's how it all started, through my mom.
How long have you been doing this? How long have you been a certified nursing assistant?
So I've been a certified nursing assistant for 11 years now.
11?
Yes, 11 years. And I came fresh out of high school,
Okay.
18 years old.
Oh, my
Yes,
word. And has that
yes.
always been in hospice care, or has that been in a different variety of positions? Or
No, so hospice has been 3 years.
okay.
And then, oh, hold on, we gotta do math real quick. But anyway, the remaining the remaining years has been hospital, nursing home. Well, yeah, so I've honestly just been hospital, nursing home, and hospice. Those
Okay.
have been my 3 areas.
Three areas. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
Great.
yes, yes,
I know you
yes.
can't go too far in because of patient confidentiality and
Right.
privacy, but I'd love if you could share maybe one or two impact stories, experiences that you've had that really kind of, is like, I know I'm in the right place, like really just kind of hit home with you.
Um, I had one patient, and this was in the beginning when I first got into hospice.
Okay.
And the beginning, I mean, the family in itself was just, fabulous, sorry. And, him too, the patient himself. And we just bonded, we just clicked. And I started with that particular family because, like I said, I was just starting into hospice, and they kept calling the office, and they just didn't know what to do.
Right.
So I asked my supervisor, I said, can I please just pick up this family? I said, let me see what I can do to help. And I did. And, I was grateful that I was able, well, first of all, I took the phone call in the office, and I was grateful that I was able to help them. And everything was to, go a little bit easier, and they were able to breathe a little bit and say, okay, everything is coming together now, it's okay, and that family in particular, it showed me a different, like I said, a different side. I was just like, wow, it's really hard to explain, but I was grateful, like I said, that I met them.
Right.
And that, I was able to help them.
Right.
And going back to one of my another moment was I was able to connect, and this was a little bit more recently. I was able to connect a little bit more with one of my patients who was actually transitioning at that moment.
Okay.
And I remember talking to him, and I just said, you're going to be okay, because he had that look in his eyes, and he was looking at me. I said, you're going to be okay. I asked him if he needed anything, and at that moment he was able to say, I just thank you. And that was literally it. And I said, oh my goodness. I because after that I was just, and then too, it was really close because, again, I had just dealt with the death of my father. So to have a male then, pass on me like that, I was, ooh, okay. that was a bit much. But again, it was a blessing moment, for me to experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was grateful.
Were
Yeah.
you able to be with your dad when he passed?
Yes. Yes. I was taking a nap, and I cannot explain the sound that I heard, but it woke me up.
Okay.
And as soon as I went, it was, the gasping of air. And I just held his hand and I said, it's okay. I called my mom and I told her it was time. And, she rushed over. She doesn't live far anyway, but, she rushed over, and, and that was it. That was it. And I told him, I said, thank you for this time, so it was,
Yeah.
it was special. It was a special, but it was hard, of course, but it
Right.
was definitely a special moment,
Yeah.
that, you can't replace or, change or anything.
Right. That you're grateful
Yeah,
for, as hard as it is. It's
exactly.
just
Yes.
that,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. You're like,
Yeah, very
wow,
grateful for it.
I was a part of it. It's not, yeah, I can totally understand that.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this has to be a challenging position emotionally.
Hmm.
What do you do to sort of care for yourself? What do you do to sort of decompress, or, at the end of the day, it's an emotionally intense position, regardless
It
of your
is.
day.
Right. Right.
What do you do to care for
I
yourself?
I honestly, I don't have any tools, but but Miss Tammy, I am learning, and I just had this conversation with myself yesterday. This is funny because I said, Khenae, it is time for you.
Yeah.
It is time for you to do whatever.
Yeah.
So I was happy yesterday. I just spontaneously booked a massage yesterday.
Yes. Good job. That's
So
awesome.
I did do that, and I got it and I loved it, and I said, I need to pick days, whatever,
Mhm.
day it may be, and just say this day is specifically for Khenae,
Right.
to do what Khenae wants to do when Khenae wants to do it,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that's it, and not have to worry,
Right.
about, any of that. So I am learning
That's
to, to take
perfect.
time,
Yep.
and I do plan to do those types of things, maybe shopping, like I said, massaging, or
Right.
I do like horseback riding, but
Awesome.
yeah, it's a little bit too hot now, but
A little too
you
hot.
know,
But
yeah,
yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
if you think of it sort of like a battery or something like that, like you're expending energy
Hmm.
and being, you're giving all of this of
Right.
yourself, and that's got to take a toll on you,
Yeah.
and it needs to, you need to find something, I would think, to sort of
Yes.
bring your
Yeah.
levels back up.
Right. You're
Massage
absolutely
sounds
right.
awesome. Massage, whew, that sounds perfect.
Yes.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yes.
Is there anything that you can think of that like misunderstandings or misconceptions that you would love for people to be like, okay, here's the real deal. Let me tell you, this is it.
I would just like them to know that, and I'm not taking away from any other discipline, CNAs, certified nursing assistants, are the backbones. And I know that sometimes we don't, and I know it's not always needed, but sometimes we don't always get the praise and the recognition that we should sometimes.
Right.
Um, and
As the backbone, as that essential piece of care.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yes, yes. And if people will just sometimes either, I don't know, maybe just take a walk in our shoes, or have conversations more about what exactly we do and how we feel, and how sometimes it's hard not to, but we do sometimes take what the families are going through, back to our homes,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So if we can just be a little bit more understood,
Yeah.
I that will be grateful,
Yeah.
for me. So and I think in a nutshell, like I said, that's just basically it.
Right.
If we could just be a little bit more understood, if our role could be understood more.
Right. And the
That
value of it. What I'm hearing is
exactly. Yes.
definitely the
Yes.
value,
Yes. You're
the
right. The value.
importance, the
Yes.
significance, and it is. And I sincerely, I mean, I am so grateful for the care that you provide, and everything that you do is
Yes.
amazing.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Miss Tammy.
Our,
Thank you.
and all the other certified nursing
Yes.
assistants.
Mhm.
And we're talking about this because it is the week to celebrate certified
Right.
nursing assistants, but I'm with you, that celebration and that understanding and that value needs to go
Yes.
past this week.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, thank you, Khenae. I know you need to get back and see, all your patients for the day, but I do so appreciate your time and coming to
Oh,
talk
yes.
and sharing your
Yes.
experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Tammy. And I'd like to thank Miss Jasmine Crew as well. Yes, for allowing me to do this.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate you for taking time out.
I appreciate your time. I also want to be sure to thank the John and Kathy Belcher Institute for their generous support of the community education programs at Hospice of the Chesapeake. Thanks.
Thank you.